When I was just a baby, my mama told me, son, always be a good boy. Just always play with guns. Oh, wait. That's not how that song goes.
It's definitely not how
Hey,
that song
welcome
goes.
back to Sons, Graves, and Omens. Hey there, fuckers. It's me. Hi, what the fuck? There's a ghost in the studio.
Oh.
My name is Fred Stewart. And, little known guy named Fred Stewart. I'm part of this podcast every single week. And with me, as always, is my lovely co-host, Taylor.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Tay.
How are you?
I'm just fine. I'm doing just good. I got my little drink, my little drinky drink, kind of out here hanging out. But I feel like there is a ghost in the studio that I'm not ready for. And that is the ghost of I almost said Samras. It's the cameras and sound. It's Marty Cowick.
No.
What?
Just kidding. It's me. Why can't I get my own intro too? You know?
It's the HGO. This is HGO.
I'm just kidding. But I just want one time for the intro after it rolls just to show me first.
Okay, you know what? Next week we'll do that. We'll do it. We'll do it next week on probably the darkest episode we're gonna do all year.
Oh, okay,
maybe.
Okay. Sounds good.
So, but welcome back, Marty. You were on some adventures out in the wild of California.
The wild, or as Will Smith calls it, the wild, wild west.
That is true. He says that all the time. Me and him are close friends.
Oh, yeah.
But Marty, you visited a location that we've actually covered here on the podcast, which is very exciting.
Yes, sir.
And that was
the Winchester Mystery House.
Oh shit, Winchester Mystery House. You see a lot of Winchesters. See a lot of mystery. A lot of house.
A lot of house, that's for sure. A lot of mystery.
Oh.
And a lot of the word Winchester. But not the weapon.
A lot of Winchester getting thrown around here.
yeah, lots of Winchester. But it was a really like wow place, like everything was just so extra and weird, and it definitely had its eerie feelings and moments, and like just the history of the whole thing, and you guys covered it, so the listeners that have heard know, but it's just like when you're there, it's just such a different
vibe
feeling.
Yeah.
It's weird because as you go through the house, literally your mood will change going through the different parts of the house.
I'm like, why is there so many fucking stairs in here?
Yeah, there's a ton of stairs. But my favorite part of the whole tour was the seance room.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And it was right next to the bedroom where Sarah Winchester died. Like literally there's her bedroom where she spent most of her, nights. And like you walk up a little bit of stairs, and then it's just a tiny little room, and there's only one entrance but two exits, and she was the only one with a key to the room.
Mm-hmm.
And she would go in there every night from midnight to 2 a.m. and have a seance.
Wow, that's intense.
And it was like immediately like 10 degrees cooler in there than the rest of the entire house. It was weird.
That's fucking creepy.
It was really creepy.
Honestly, that's what I strive to do.
What, have a seance room?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Well, Marty, you missed it last week, but we'll give you a little bit of a refresher. In the town in New Jersey, a house known as 657 Boulevard is being haunted by an unknown entity or unknown being known as the Watcher. And they have been sending letters to the... What family was it, Tay?
The Broadduses.
The Broaddus family, and sending letters to them asking if they've found the secrets within the walls. And right as we finished the last episode, they did a DNA analysis on one of the envelopes, and they discovered the DNA has come back to a woman.
That was very interesting.
Hell have no fury like a woman scorned.
It's true.
And one with a bunch of free time on their hands. Always watching. Mike Wazowski. Always watching. Always watching.
It's so loud on my ear.
Oh, I'm not doing it again.
It'd be louder if you did it in the mic. So
So, like I said, to pick back up where we left off was they had just did this DNA swab, got it back, determined that it belongs to a woman. Now, what happens next day?
All right. So, Detective Chambliss decided to look more closely at Abby Langford, who was Michael's sister, who we talked about it in the last episode, but that was their main suspect was this man named Michael.
Mm-hmm.
But Abby Langford worked as a real estate agent. So there was some speculation that maybe she was upset about missing a commission right next door. She worked at the local Lord and Taylor, and Chambliss coordinated with a security guard to nab her plastic water bottle during a shift. You imagine just you're like, you leave, fucking take your water bottle, come back. You're like, what? The fuck's my water?
Well, I mean, it could have been a plastic water bottle.
Yeah, but still.
I mean,
if I had I do have a plastic water bottle sitting right here,
mm-hmm.
and I left and I came back and it was gone, I'd be a little.
What's going on? Just like that.
I want my water. Give me my water.
Literally just like that. That simple. See,
I like how I fell for it.
I fell for it too. But after it took me a second, still I didn't get it until you said something because I was like, something's going on with the cameras, or
I thought there was something going on with my mic. I was like, what the fuck? What are you talking about?
you both fell for it.
Yeah.
Except I'm the one who got my water bottle stolen.
Where the fuck did the water go just now?
I'd be a little annoyed.
Always watching Mike Wazowski. I love you, Mike.
So Chambliss said that the DNA sample was not a match, so that pretty much ruled out Abby Langford. But not long after that, the prosecutor's office gave Derek and Maria some unexpected news. They wouldn't say how or why, but they had ruled out the Langfords completely as suspects.
They gave us $100,000 and they said stop looking into this. So they're no longer suspects.
The fuck alone.
Yeah.
The Broadduses were stunned. They had recently told the prosecutors that they planned to file civil charges against the Langfords and wondered if prosecutors were lying to prevent the story from blowing up again. Quote, my family moved to the Boulevard in 1961 and we've never caused a problem for anybody. This guy gets all these letters and suddenly people are pointing fingers. And that's Sandy Langford who said that. So they were left without a suspect, and the Broadduses reopened their personal investigation. They were still coy about sharing too much with their neighbors, who remained in the pool of suspects, but spent an afternoon walking the block with a picture of the Watcher's handwritten envelope. They hoped someone might recognize the writing from a Christmas card, but the only notable encounter came when an older man who lived behind 657 said his son joked that the Watcher sounded a little bit like him.
Oh my God.
That's such a... Don't joke like that.
The Watcher sounds just like me. I'm fucking watching you. Have you found the secrets in the walls of 657 Boulevard?
A neighbor across the street was the CEO of Kroll, the security firm, and the Broadduses hired the company to look for handwriting matches, but found nothing.
Convenient.
Yeah.
Convenient.
They also hired Robert Leonard, a renowned forensic linguist and former member of the band Sha-Na-Na.
Oh, shit.
Not to be confused with the band Sha-Na-Na-Na-Na-Na.
Scream. Sha-Na-Na.
Yeah. Are you looking them up?
Yeah.
I've never heard of that band.
Me neither.
Dude.
Who are they? What do they do?
They're a band called Sha-Na-Na.
No.
I mean, I have Sha-Na now. I've heard of them.
This is such a bad
Sha-Na-Na
fucking
was an American rock and roll doo-wop cover group formed in 1969, but performing a song and dance repertoire based in the 1950s hit song, simultaneously revived and paraded the music and the New York street culture of the 1950s.
Oh, what do they cover? Like what band?
Slipknot.
Nice.
Doo-wop Slipknot.
I mean, probably not, but So Robert Leonard did not find any noteworthy overlap when he scoured local online forums for similarities to the Watcher's writing, although he did think the author might watch Game of Thrones, just solely based on the fact that Jon Snow is one of the Watchers on the wall. That's it.
He's Republican. Get it? Because the wall. It's
The wall.
It's a political joke. It's not that funny. I just thought it. So what happened next?
At one point, Derek persuaded a friend in tech to connect him to a hacker willing to try breaking into Wi-Fi networks in the neighborhood to look for incriminating documents. But doing so turned out to be both illegal and more difficult than the movies made it seem, so they didn't go through with it.
Dude, no, it's not that hard, dude. You just get a dude with like the fingerless gloves who like sits in a room with a bunch of monitors, and he literally just goes like this. Can we cut to it wide, please? Can we cut to it wide? He literally just goes, we're in. Like, that's it. That's literally, yeah.
I'm in.
Taylor's hacked the mainframe. Like, it's literally that fast. I don't understand why they're making it seem. They come around, they drink out of their soda that's almost empty, so it makes that like noise. And they're like, can I do it? Can a baby ride a motorcycle?
Yes.
But they shouldn't. They're way too short to be riding motorcycles. I
That's
think you didn't
the
reach the
only-
handlebars.
That's
Give
the only
babies
thing.
tiny motorcycles.
Oh my god.
Right.
As long as they're not like, what's it called when they're like up real high, like the handlebars. I don't know what they're called. Don't look at me like that.
I'm just waiting for you to finish your bit. That's all.
Like the chopper handlebars.
Yeah, but just like that with a baby.
Yeah, monkey bars, like the fucking big ass
That's
ones.
what they're called.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, grabbing the
But
Hans.
that's what
Hold on, grab wrong side. I forgot that it's mirrored. Grabbing the Hans Graves. Fucking. Just fucking. I got him. Holding on to it. Yeah.
Oh, Marty, you missed it. You missed your chance.
It was close. It was close.
Yeah. Your cut to me just sitting there not doing anything is fucking sweet.
Yeah, do you like it?
Yeah, that was great.
I liked it.
So Chambliss and the Westfield police were also back at square one. The cops asked Andrea Wood for a DNA sample and interviewed her 21-year-old son, who was surprised to find that he had suddenly become a suspect. A year after the fact, it was hard to find fresh leads, and the initial police canvass had been so porous that it missed a significant clue. Around the same time the Broadduses had received their first letter, another family on the boulevard got a similar note from the Watcher.
Oh.
The police just were like, "Oh, you got one too?"
Yeah. Well, I mean, what have we said time and time again with law enforcement in these kind of cases? They're just kind of like, I can't believe there was more clues. They were in front of us the entire time, and then they're going to do a documentary like fucking 20 years later, and it's going to be like, yeah, I always knew those letters were connected. And like, no, the fuck you didn't, dude. You were fucking ripping
didn't even
coke
know
off.
they
You're ripping
existed.
coke off the dashboard of your Monte Carlo, dude.
This is from 2014.
I don't give a shit. He owns a Monte Carlo.
You make it sound like it's from like the 60s. It's like, it's not that long ago. It's not even a decade ago.
Listen, this is New Jersey police. We have no idea what's happening. All right. They could be inside of their fucking, like 2011 like Ford Escape or something like that. And just be like, it's like, we got to find the Watcher.
So my thing just scrolled up on me because of course it did. So the parents of that family had lived in their house for years and their kids were grown, so they threw away the letter just as the Woodses had. But after the news broke, one of their children posted about it on Facebook and then deleted the post. When investigators spoke to the family, they confirmed that the letter had been similar to the Broadduses, but its existence only made the case more confusing. Chambliss was quoted saying, "There wasn't a whole lot to go on."
Okay, well, we only have all this, incredible mounting evidence that keeps getting stranger and stranger, but we have a bunch of evidence, but we have nothing to go on.
We have nothing to go on. So one night, Chambliss and a partner were sitting in the back of a van parked on the boulevard watching the house through a pair of binoculars. They have become the Watcher.
The back there, like, they got their shag carpet, and they got their cool, like, black light poster in the
I
van.
imagine so, yeah.
They're sitting in beanbag chairs, eating snacks. He's like, you want to smoke a bowl, dude? Like, whoa, dude, like, what if, like, we're the Watcher now, dude? Oh. And then they got out and just started fucking blasting shots in the houses.
I'd be a horrible person to pick as like the person to be watched, because it would be like, they would send me letters in the mail, and then I would just never fucking check my mail.
Yeah.
A year later, I'd see all of them, and I wouldn't even open them. I'd just put them in my closet. I would have never knew that I was being watched the whole time.
Yeah. Honestly, yeah, same. Because, like, I don't know, I just stack my mail, and I'll get to it eventually, probably.
Yeah.
Like,
All right.
I don't check my mail very often.
I don't either.
So around 11 p.m., a car stopped in front of the house long enough for Chambliss to grow suspicious. He says he traced the car to a young woman in a nearby town whose boyfriend lived on the same block as 657. The woman told Chambliss that her boyfriend was, quote, into some really dark video games.
He plays Minecraft.
Fucking probably.
At nighttime.
Including, in Chambliss's memory, one in which he plays as a specific character, the Watcher.
The Watcher, huh?
Now, I don't know, maybe Chambliss misheard her, and it's actually the Witcher, but
Huh. Yeah.
that'd be my guess.
Possible, because I don't know what game they're talking about to be the Watcher.
Is there a game called The Watcher?
There is a game called The Watcher.
Oh, is it spooky?
Yeah.
Oh, you might have to play it on like a live stream.
Yeah, I'm also just kind of looking at there's a Darksiders, which is a game.
Yeah,
There's a guy called The Watcher. The Watcher as she appears in Slay the Spire. There's a whole bunch of Watchers.
Oh.
Imagine a game where you're just like, just a fat guy sitting in a window with binoculars in New York City, just like staring into people's apartments.
So I'd like you guys to check out my new game. It's based off of the movie The Rear Window, which is an Alfred Hitchcock movie where he sits there and he's got a broken leg and he looks through binoculars, except you're a fat guy and you have to find a way not to starve to death.
You're like using a little mirror to shine the sun into people's fucking apartments.
Hey, you gonna eat that? hey, you gonna eat that? God, there's so much good food down there. Oh my god, dude. Oh, there's bacon wrapped hot dogs, dude. I'm gonna go find 657 Boulevard and go watch some.
Is that a whole tray of fried mayonnaise balls?
I fucking hated that. Anyway,
So, as for the female DNA, Chambliss figured the girlfriend or someone else could have helped. The boyfriend was living elsewhere at the time, but Chambliss says he had agreed to come in for an interview on 2 separate occasions, but he didn't show up either time.
convenient.
It was like, yeah, I'll come in.
I'll be there when I get there.
I'm not coming.
I'm not coming.
I'm
arriving.
Oh, shit.
So Chambliss didn't have enough evidence to compel him to appear, and with the media attention dying down, he dropped the case and moved on. While the Broadduses continued to be consumed by stress and fear for the rest of Westfield, the story became a little more than a creepy urban legend and a house to walk by on Halloween if you were brave enough. No one lived in the house before the Woodses. No one that lived in the house before the Woodses could recall anything unusual, and it was hard to imagine for people to imagine that their idyllic neighborhood could be host to something so sinister. A woman who lived nearby said that after the news broke, she and 10 or so of her neighbors had gathered into the street to puzzle out who might have sent the letters.
I think it was Susan. She's a bitch. She's always writing fucking letters and shit. Or it could have been Josh. He's always out there writing letters and shit. Everybody in this town writes letters. No one else does texts. It's always letters, handmade letters. And everybody always signs the Watcher.
Everyone
It was
is
the whole
Watcher.
neighborhood trying to get them the fuck out of that house.
I fucking guess.
Probably. I mean, I feel like the Broaddus's kind of blew this out of proportion a little bit than it needed to be. I understand it's creepy letters, but they could have been like, it's New Jersey. I'll just, I don't know, buy a shotgun. You know?
Yeah.
just or get a home security. And this dude was really rich. He could have just got like, you know, security on site or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't know.
You can get
I
some
don't
fucking
know.
ring cameras.
yeah, that would have been an idea.
Yeah. Put a camera on the fucking mailbox. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, 2014 GoPros exist.
Yeah.
Put a fucking ring
just
camera in that
strap
bitch,
it.
dude. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine.
Right.
Like that would have been a great idea, except they said, no, I think I just want to, I don't know. I don't want to do anything,
They want to revel in the mystery.
I guess. So the group of neighbors that gathered in the street came to a consensus. Maybe the Broadduses had sent the letters to themselves.
Dun, 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 dun.
The theory, so far as it went, was that the Broadduses had suffered buyer's remorse or realized that they couldn't afford the home and concocted an elaborate scheme to get out of the sale.
But they already bought it.
Listen, this is a bunch of like random people in the neighborhood.
I think that they sent the letter to themselves. Like, no.
Probably not.
You know how fucking annoying that'd be?
They also suggested maybe Derek was cooking up some sort of insurance fraud.
Oh. What would you say?
Nothing. Keep going.
Okay.
Or they were angling for a movie deal. However, the Broadduses had turned down several offers for movies. Lifetime did eventually release a movie called The Watcher, despite a cease and desist letter from the Broadduses, arguing that the couple in its movie was biracial, and the letters were signed The Raven. So
Okay, I don't understand what the has to.
I don't know. The Broadduses
Ravens
gave
are
a
black.
cease and desist, and then the Lifetime was like, no. See, here's the thing. Obviously, it's not you two because it's a biracial couple. Also, it's not the Watcher; it's the Raven.
The Raven.
So,
The
like,
Raven.
I think
I think they were just mad that it was a Lifetime movie.
Yeah.
You know?
like
This happy couple moved into New Jersey. They're being stalked by the Raven. They live on 756 Boulevard.
yeah. Perfect.
Yeah.
Some locals found it noteworthy that over the course of a decade, the Broadduses had upgraded from a $315,000 home to a $770,000 home to the $1.3 million home and refinanced their mortgages. A few weeks after the letters became public, the Westfield Leader published an article which anonymous neighbors were quoted asking why the Broadduses kept renovating a home they weren't moving into, or questioning whether they had really actually done that much renovating at all. The Leader even cast doubt on Maria's commitment to her family's safety, citing as evidence that she had a public Facebook page with a photo of her kids.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's whatever, you know? The fuck,
How many people have a public Facebook with their kids on it? Like,
Yeah.
that doesn't mean you're any less concerned about their safety.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's also like, you know, the Leader is like, some nice kids you got there. Be ashamed something happened to them.
I fucking guess.
That's kind of the vibe I'm getting from them. They're like, should be ashamed if the Watcher found your kids, huh? They're like, what the fuck did you say to me? Cease and desist.
So the paper did note that the police had tested Maria's DNA and it didn't match, so it's probably not her. None of the theories made much logical sense. The Broadduses had answers to every question. When asked, how does someone go from a $300,000 home to a $1.3 million home in 10 years?
Can I answer?
Yes.
Say,
Derek said,
it's America.
but they weren't.
God bless.
Yeah, they weren't speaking publicly, and the rumors persisted. I like that answer though.
Mm-hmm.
How did you like the rungs of the ladder, essentially.
Because I'm a fucking patriot. That's why.
One Boulevard resident wrote a letter to the editor arguing that, quote, an elaborate scheme is underway to defraud the Woods family for millions of dollars.
What?
I don't fucking know. Chambliss said that some Westfield cops were even brought into the theory, or that had bought into the theory, and there were even more skeptics online. Someone's quote, I live in a neighboring town. If these letters had been happening for a while, there's no doubt in my mind that it would have been made public way before this. This screams scam. And this is from Lord Fluffernutter on Reddit.
Hey, Lord Fluffernutter. Cool name. Looking forward to your manifesto. So,
Sounds like a reliable source to me.
Honestly.
I mean, yeah. Right? But, I mean, it also seems like the longer this case gets, the more we dive into it, people are just even more confused.
Yeah.
Even while law enforcement is just also like, hey, it's coming from a female. We're guessing it's somewhere within the area. And a house couple, streets down also got a similar letter. So maybe we should try to maybe focus our investigation and do that. And they're like, everybody else is like, what if we just start pointing fingers? It's you, listener and watcher. The watchers pointing at you.
So the Broadduses hadn't known how their neighbors would react to the news about the Watcher, but they had lived in the area for more than a decade, and Maria's family had been a part of the community for much longer, so it was shocking to find themselves accused of being con artists. To Derek, it seemed that some in Westfield preferred the conspiracy theory to considering whether their town might be home to a menace. Quote, there is a natural tendency to say, I've lived here for 35 years. Nothing's happened to me.
I mean, yeah.
Which is the same energy as like, well, I did this thing back in the 80s and I'm still here. So
I used to drink and drive without a seatbelt and I'm fine. I don't see what the fucking big deal is. So, like, have you seen the videos of when drinking and driving became illegal?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was in the fucking 70s or something like that.
Yeah.
It wasn't that long ago. And it might have been even after that. And they're interviewing people and they're like, well, sometimes I like to have a beer on the way home. What's the big deal? I don't know. Maybe it's because it's super fucking immoral.
Nah.
Yeah.
So Derek also said, what happened to my family is an affront to their contention that they're safe. There is no such thing as mental illness in their community. People don't want to believe that this could happen in Westfield. So Maria looks back on her childhood pretty fondly. And she was born a few years after Westfield resident John List infamously murdered his wife.
Oh, shit.
So, safe town, right?
Yeah.
He had murdered his wife, mother, and 3 children in their home.
Maybe we'll cover that case one of these days. That case is fucking insane.
Yeah. And she remembers a period when she and other kids were warned to look out for a strange van driving around town. Quote, my mother always told me that don't have a false sense of security. It wasn't that bad things were going to happen all the time. It was that bad things happen everywhere. And she didn't want me to think that this was Mayberry. Yeah.
Also, in case you're curious, drinking while driving or being drunk while driving became illegal in 1988. So
pretty recently.
Yeah.
Good job, United States.
God bless.
God bless.
Isn't that crazy?
That's fucking insane.
Yeah, and fucking 8 years later, my dumbass was born. It's I could have been the product of drunk driving.
Drink driving.
Well, I was thinking more the Australian. It's like fucking drunk driving, mate. Yeah. G'day. So
another shrimp on the barbie.
Shrimp on the barbie. So, I mean, yeah, she's got a point, though. I mean, bad things are going to happen everywhere. And this was in 2014, right? Like fucking Bundy had existed, Gacy, Dahmer, the fucking Zodiac. I mean, all these like high profile killers have existed by this point, and people were like, nothing ever bad would have happened in this town. Blah, blah,
Not
blah, blah, blah.
this town.
It's like, meanwhile, it's like, oh yeah, and fucking like, buttfuck Tennessee, some dude was skinning people's faces, and they're like, it can't be Harold. It's definitely not Harold.
No.
People are stupid.
It's insane. A lot of the locals were more concerned that the national press might ruin Westfield's good name. Some were primarily worried about arson or vandalism, or whether the Broadduses would maintain the lawn, which in quotation marks it says they did.
In case you're wondering, they did mow the lawn.
They did.
Yeah.
Mark Logrippo.
Nice, dude. What a fucking name, dude. Got that low grippo, dude.
That low grippo?
Yeah.
Fucking tight on that shit, dude. Like an anaconda, brother.
The neighborhood's representative on the Westfield Town Council said that the primary concern he heard from residents was that they, quote, were worried about their property value and the stigma of the neighborhood.
I mean, it's only that one house.
I know.
What about the property value? Fuck you. You don't know anything. You don't know.
It's like I've seen like it's like just like go take a couple shots outside in the neighborhood to keep the property value down.
Oh yeah.
Like
when they go outside, like I can't remember what show that was, but the dude goes outside and he's like firing rounds off in the air.
Yeah.
He's like, "What are you doing?" He goes, "Gotta keep the property value low." I was like, "Oh yeah." I didn't think about that.
Oh, it's just Mark Low Grippo out there doing his thing with his cousin Steve Low 5-0.
So the Broadduses were suddenly outcasts, not only from their home, but also their town. Derek wanted to leave Westfield, but Maria insisted on not uprooting her children. Quote, "This person took so much from us. I wouldn't let them take more." 2 years after the Watchers' letters arrived, the Broadduses borrowed money from a family members to buy a second home in Westfield using an LLC to keep their location private, but staying in town was stressful. The first time Maria let her daughter go to the pool with her friends, she stared at the tracker on her daughter's iPhone the whole time. One time, one of their kids was in a language arts class when the teacher led a debate whether the family in the book they were reading about should move to Westfield. The class thought that they should, in part of how safe it was. Afterwards, one of the kids told the Broadduses' child, quote, "My parents told me no matter what your family says, Westfield is safe."
Well, guess what, you little fucking snot? It's not. That fucking watcher is going to come to your house in your room and he's going to fucking peel you like a goddamn banana. Are you ready for it? Because I'm coming.
Are you the watcher?
Yes.
Oh.
Well, I'm one of the watchers.
Ooh.
I'm in the Pacific Northwest sector. Yeah. I'm waiting for them to come.
It's a union.
It is a union. By the way, Marty, we have our meeting this week for the Watchers.
Oh, yeah.
You gonna be there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Make sure to
RSVP.
Well, yeah. Make sure to bring the wettest towel you have.
Yeah.
And
I'm also gonna bring some broccoli cheddar rice.
Yeah. Are you bringing the ham hocks, or because we're gonna need those for throwing?
Yeah, the ham hocks and the root beer.
Oh yeah, root beer. And then are you gonna get in the forbidden slip and slide?
I don't know. Ever since my uncle Harry got in it last year, I don't know if I.
Well, I mean, okay,
really
listen, we put way too much condiments on it, and and so honestly, it was a safety hazard. But now we have OSHA involved. So they're gonna be watching. But I'll bring some towels. Anyway, what do we?
What is happening? I'm so lost. I don't know what's happening.
That's the best part about doing this with Marty is like I hang out with him so often that we can do a bit like that where it just gets more and more insane as it goes on, and none of us laugh. Improv, baby. Improv.
So meanwhile, the Broadduses still had to figure out what to do with 657 Boulevard. Their lawsuit was pending but seemed unlikely to succeed. Some states require sellers to disclose transient social conditions, like murders or possible haunting.
Yeah, that's very common in the South too.
Yeah, it was after a 1991 case involving an allegedly ghost-filled house. A New York court ruled that, quote, as a matter of law, the house is haunted.
Interesting.
Which is super weird. But New Jersey did not have such a regulation. A judge later dismissed the lawsuit. The Woodses, through their attorney, declined to comment for the story. Derek looked into renting the house to the Department of Veterans Affairs and a company that runs halfway homes. In the spring of 2016, they put 657 back on the market, hoping it would garner more interest, given how many people have reacted to the letters by saying they would have ignored them and just moved in. The Broadduses held a well-attended open house, after which Derek and Maria spent hours researching every person who signed in and comparing their handwriting to the watchers. But each time a potential buyer expressed interest and met with the Broadduses' lawyer to read the letters, they backed out.
I like that next quote. It's like some cocky guy from Staten Island said, "Fuck it, I'm gonna get a house for a discount." Derek recalled he reads the letters and we never hear from him again. He's like, "I'll fucking get this sick ass house. Look at this, big living."
And then he didn't.
Yeah, he's like, he goes to the house and he's just like, "Those windows look nice. I can't wait to hang out the side of them with my tank top and go, hey, Joey, hey, get the fuck out of here, hey."
So, feeling as if they were out of options, the Broadduses' real estate lawyer proposed an idea. Sell the house to a developer who could tear it down and split the property into 2 sellable homes. They thought they could get $1 million for the lot. Subdivisions like this have been common in Westfield, much to the chagrin of many locals. And 657 was one of the neighborhood's biggest lots. Even so, dividing it would require Westfield Planning Board to grant an exception. The 2 smaller lots would be 67.4 and 67.6 feet wide, which was just shy of the mandated 70 feet. So, when the proposal was publicly announced, Westfield's Facebook groups lit up. Some expressed sympathy for the Broadduses, while others pointed out the real estate is always a gamble. Another faction was convinced that this was the culmination of a long con. Quote, out of this whole scam artist story, there ends up being nothing more disturbing than this move. A man who coached the Broadduses' son in football wrote, quote, they were in over their head from day one. The application was jarring for neighbors who had learned about the watcher from a lawsuit and had always found it strange that the Broadduses didn't share more information, not seeming to understand that they were following orders from the police and trying to protect their children. A typical Facebook conversation would go like this, which was, sounds like this whole watcher thing was a ploy.
The owners are no good. The owners are good, not a ploy.
Okay, I know nothing about them.
Okay.
What the fuck is happening?
These scumbags are trying to steal money from everybody, and I know they are. It's like, actually, they're really nice people, and it's a shame that this happened to them. And you're like,
Okay.
I don't know what I'm talking about, so don't fucking hate me in the comments, okay?
Fred, do you think they did it?
Do I think they sent themselves the letters?
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
No, I don't think so.
No, I don't think so. I think when we get to the end, I'll give my general theories, but I don't think it was them at all. It was somebody very close, though.
Kristen Kemp, who was a friend of the Broadduses, had tried to defend them on one Facebook forum, but people started to attack her as well. Somebody said, how do we know it's not you writing the letters? immediately just turning around like, maybe it's you.
Maybe you could shut the fuck up about that. That's when you start posting just memes and just be like, fucking no, dude.
Gifts.
Gifts, yeah.
When the planning board met to decide the application in January of 2017, it had already devoted a 3-hour hearing to the issue. More than 100 residents showed up. One of them, who lived across from the street and had a daughter in the same grade as one of the Broaddus's kids, had retained a lawyer to fight the proposal. She was like, I really don't want you to do this, so I'm going to hire a lawyer so you don't tear down the house.
A kid in the same grade as the Broaddus's kid had hired a lawyer.
Yeah, the mom of that kid.
Oh, okay.
The child had not hired the lawyer.
I just misheard that the other way.
Yeah, one of the people who lived across the street.
Keep the house. I like the house. Fucking break your legs. Get rid of the house.
Some people suggested like who but the watcher would go so far as to hire an attorney to preserve the house, especially because she just lives across the street. Like, it's not a big deal.
Yeah. It's not your fucking house. Mind your own business.
Yeah, honestly though, it's not your fucking house. After a quick discussion about a Wells Fargo branch that wanted to use brighter light bulbs than the town allowed, the room grew as tense as suburban planning board meetings get. James Forrest.
Whatever.
The Broaddus's attorney explained that the 3-foot exemption was as narrow as the easel he was using to display the map of the neighborhood. It was a map that showed several lots on the block that were also too small. The neighbors expressed concern that the plan might require knocking down trees, and the new homes would have aesthetically unpleasing front-facing garages. That was their concern.
I fucking hate people. People are so stupid.
This is like having a home at an HOA.
Yeah, but worse.
But like worse, because you're not in an HOA. But all these people are just like, yeah, but like, what about the garages though?
Yeah, see, I wish that I could have been there, because I would have been like, I'm sorry, do any of you want to buy this house? No? Then shut the fuck up. I don't know what you're talking for. Your mouth, close it. You're not involved. Unless you're buying the house from me, I don't care what you have to say to me. Tear it down. Build 2 other houses.
Forrest repeatedly threatened the halfway house, being another possible alternative. After the lawyers, a parade of neighbors stood up to speak. Glenn Dumont, from across the street, said the proposal, quote, would spell the end of the 600 block of Boulevard as we know it. A woman whose kids have been to the Broaddus's old home for a birthday party spoke on the behalf of 9 neighbors and represented 657 Boulevard as Westfield's Alamo.
Okay.
What the fuck is happening?
Remember the Alamo.
It's 657 Boulevard, I guess.
Remember the Alamo.
Our neighborhoods are constantly under attack from turf, lights, parking decks, you name it. If we can't make a stand on Boulevard, where can we?
I don't know, probably on your own fucking property.
I started going southern on that. Sorry.
Hey, we can't make turf lights.
We can't make a stand on Boulevard. Where can we?
I can't stand the beat it stick my legs.
This boulevard ain't big enough for the 2 of us.
That's why I'm building 2 other houses on the lot, but they won't let me.
I didn't realize I was going southern until I got to the end of that sentence, and I could very clearly
yes,
hear
the most southern place in the entire U.S.
New Jersey.
Westfield, New Jersey. New Jersey.
At one point, Abby Langford stood up to say that she had, quote, spent almost 60 years looking at a magnificent, beautiful house and didn't want to be looking out at a driveway.
Sounds like Abby Langford's the watcher.
Yeah. I don't know. She's been looking at the house for 60 years.
Stop looking at the house, huh? You fucking watcher. I know what you're doing,
fucking
dude.
Close your eyes.
Close them. When you come outside, I want your eyes to be closed. Don't even look in the direction of my house.
The hearing lasted 4 hours. during which there was little discussion of the reason why the Broadduses wanted to tear down their dream home in the first place. Quote, has anybody thought about whether or not this lunatic who did this has been apprehended, said Tom Higgins, who lived across the street towards the end of the hearing. Even so, Higgins pointed out that there was no guarantee the watcher wouldn't send letters to the new houses and argued that aesthetics should rule the day.
I mean, also the fact of like, you know, it like it's insane they even had to have a meeting about this, right?
Yeah.
It's literally nobody's business.
Nope.
I just don't understand that. She was like, what about the aesthetic? You know what? Fuck it. You know what we're going to do? All right. Instead of us tearing down, building two new lots, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to build 15-foot security fences made out of brick around the property. Look at that. Huh?
Ooh.
You're going to love that.
I'm making my own sound effects over here. Oh. I don't even know how I did that. Yeah, I don't really understand like why all these people are having to like are coming up to be
It's
like
just people wanting to complain about something they have no business being involved in.
basically.
But people never do that.
No, never. So quote, putting up 2 new houses is gonna stick out like an old client of mine in Texas told me. Quote, it's gonna stick out like a dog's balls.
Oh, I know what I'm saying all the time now. It's gonna stick out like a dog's balls.
Excuse me, ma'am. That sticks out like a dog's balls.
You build 2 houses on that lot's gonna stick out like a dog's pecker. And their balls are fucking huge balls.
I have one question for you. Have you ever seen the dog's balls before?
Do you want to see a dog's balls? Maybe come around and hang out with me and see some dog's balls.
Oh my god. So while some of the neighbors expressed their compassion, the focus remained on what the Broadduses stood to gain financially and what they themselves might lose. At 11:30 p.m., the board unanimously rejected the proposal, and a New Jersey judge later denied the Broadduses' appeal of the decision. Derek and Maria were distraught. Even if the plan had gone through, it would have only staunched their financial bleeding. On top of the mortgage and the renovations, they had paid around $100,000 in Westfield property taxes. The town had denied the request for relief and spent at least that amount investigating the watcher and exploring different ways to deal with the home, not to mention the cleaning the gutters.
Oh my God, who cares? Jesus, man.
The Broadduses recognized that 657 Boulevard was a beautiful house on a beautiful street that was worth maintaining, but were surprised that the neighbors didn't see the uniqueness of the situation. Quote, this is my town. I grew up here. I came back. I chose to raise my kids here. You know what we've been through. You had the ability 2.5 years into a nightmare to make it a little better. And you've decided that this house is more important than we are. That's how it felt. And
it's
according
true.
to Maria. And yeah.
That's fucking spot on.
Yeah.
Oh, even worse. That parentheses right after that. On top of all that, her dad died unexpectedly right after that.
Yeah. So like,
fuck, man.
shit is not. They got a lot on their plates for sure. Father Michael Saporito, the priest who blessed the house, went to one of the planning board meetings and said that he was taken aback by how many people had come up to him and said they thought the whole thing was a hoax. Quote, I think the human element of the story was kind of lost on the neighbors. Saporito said, the watcher had expressed a desire to protect the boulevard from change, but instead it had just been torn apart. Not long after the planning board's decision, the Broadduses got some good news. A family with grown children and 2 big dogs had agreed to rent 657 Boulevard. The renter told the Star-Ledger that he wasn't worried about the Watcher, though he had a clause in the lease that let him out in case of another letter.
Damn.
2 weeks later, Derek went to 657 to deal with some squirrels that had taken up residence in the roof, and the renter handed him an envelope that had just arrived.
Oh my God. Violent winds and bitter cold to the vile and spiteful Derek and his wench of a wife Maria. This letter, 2.5 years after the Watcher appeared, came out of nowhere. It was dated February 13th, the day the brothers gave depositions in their lawsuits against the Woodses. Quote, "You wonder who the Watcher is? Turn around, idiots," the letter read. "Maybe you even spoke to me. One of the so-called neighbors who has no idea who the Watcher could be. Or maybe you do know and are too scared to tell anyone. Good move."
That's fucking spooky.
It's pretty spooky.
Yeah. Yeah, fucking Christ. I hate that. You can tell at that point, he's angry.
Mhm.
Very angry. Not a happy person.
Absolutely not.
But also just turn around, idiots.
Hey, Stinky.
Hey, dummy, turn around.
Hey, dummy. Turn around, look at me.
So the letter was less stylish and more wrathful than the others, and it seemed like the writer had been closely following the story. They had seen the media coverage. Quote, "I walked by the news trucks when they took over my neighborhood and mocked me."
Damn.
Derek's surreptitious investigatory efforts.
"I watched you as you watched from the dark house in an attempt to find me. Telescopes and binoculars are wonderful inventions."
And after the attempt to tear down the house,
657 Boulevard survived your attempted assault and stood strong with its army of supporters barricading its gates. My soldiers of the boulevard followed my orders to a T. They carried out their mission and saved the soul of 657 Boulevard with my orders. All hail the Watcher.
so Jesus Christ.
So, yeah.
Yeah. The renter was mentioned, and he was spooked, but agreed to stay if the Broadduses installed cameras around the house. And the letter indicated revenge could come in many forms. It was like we were back at the beginning, said Maria, but it also meant fresh evidence that might help the investigation. Derek took the letter to police headquarters, where a detective looked at a neighborhood map and traced a circle around the house 300 yards in diameter, suggesting the Watcher must be somewhere in there. Derek drew one much closer. In my view, it's one of 10 houses in the world. The Broadduses continued to press the case, but there wasn't much for law enforcement to go on, and it was possible to look up and down the street and see the Watcher in practically anyone. The residents mentioned a teenager whose father had grown up around the corner, and a man who sometimes walked around the neighborhood playing the flute.
Okay. Pretty cool.
An elderly couple behind the house had been there 47 years. The husband was the man, Bill Woodward, who had been sitting in the lawn chair just staring at the Broadduses' house. One of their kids had married a man who grew up in of all places, 657 Boulevard. These were bits of information that could mean anything or nothing, depending on how you looked at them. The Broadduses sent new names to investigators whenever they found something odd, but their greatest fear was that the Watcher could be someone that they'd never expect. It's all beautiful trees and beautiful houses, but all I feel is anxious. Sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night wondering, what would my life be like if this didn't happen? We lost Christmas a couple times, and you don't get that back. Christmas with a 5-year-old, said Derek. The Broadduses no longer live in ever-present fear that the Watcher might strike at any moment, but they continue to deal with the lingering effects from the letters. They have a new tenant at 657, but the rent doesn't cover the mortgage. Their kids are occasionally teased at school, and the conspiratorial rumors persist. They try to avoid the people who spoke out against them in the planning board application or accuse them of being con artists, but suburban life makes that pretty difficult. Quote, I see all these people on the soccer field at the train station. My heart starts going like it did when I played hockey and was about to get in a fight, said, according to Derek. And when Maria found herself in a spin class at the YMCA, I like how it says she found herself there.
Like how the fuck?
Like she didn't mean to go to a spin class, and there
Why
she
am
was.
I so dizzy? Oh wait, it's a spin class.
Like I just
Always watching.
Oh, just spinning.
It's like pops. Good show.
I just like that it's like she found herself there. She didn't mean to get
How did I get here?
She didn't mean to be there, but she found herself there.
Yeah. Anyway.
She found herself in the spin class with the head of the planning board. She went up to him afterwards and told him, quote, you continue to hurt my family every day.
Good.
Man, can you imagine that being said to you just like at a spin class?
Just go. Good. You know what you did.
I just go
Spin around.
spin, yeah.
Spin class.
Most people in Westfield say that they rarely think of the Watcher anymore. The real estate market was doing fine, for one, and many were surprised to find out the Broadduses were still dealing with the problem. Hindsight made Derek and Maria wonder if they should have sold the house at a loss early on. And 657 Boulevard conjured too much emotional pain for them to ever consider moving in. The hope is that a few years of renting the place without incident will help them sell it. The prosecutor's office was continuing its investigation.
Yeah, quote unquote.
They probably weren't doing shit, but the Broadduses knew that it was unlikely the Watcher would ever be caught and that legal punishment would likely be minimal if he ever was. The Watcher also no longer the only person sending anonymous letters in Westfield. Last Christmas Eve, when this article was written, several families had received an envelope in their mailboxes. They'd been delivered by hand to the homes of some of the people who had been most vocal criticizing the Broadduses online. One of them lived a few blocks down from the boulevard, and they had written, I wish we could go back to the days of tar and feathers. I have just the couple in mind.
Oh my God.
Like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, fuck these victims, man. How fucking dare you get harassed by an unknown person, you piece of shit. That's what you get for trying to live your fucking life and try to provide for your family and live in a cool place and a place that your wife grew up at, you motherfucker. How dare you? What are you talking about?
Yeah, like
what are you so mad for? Because a family got harassed,
and they're
and you're
upset
like,
about it.
like this family sucks.
How dare they be upset that they got harassed, right? Like,
Yeah.
So another family who got the letter said that it was, quote, weirdly poetic, as the Watcher had been, and that it accused the families of speculating incorrectly about the Broadduses. So now he's defending them.
Interesting.
First he's like, hey, stinky idiot, turn around. And then he's also like, but it wasn't, they didn't like make this shit.
Yeah, like, and listen, it's legit. Just stop being so rude, man. You know, like
Even the Watcher, who is stalking this family, is like, y'all are going a little too far.
well, I mean, even like looking at what it says includes several stories about recent acts of domestic terrorism in which signs of brewing mental illness had gone unnoticed. The type letters were always signed with "Friends of the Broaddus family."
Like,
So,
yeah.
oh, sweetheart.
I feel like every once in a while the Watcher should just put a letter in their mailbox, and when they open it up, it's just a cat just like saying "hang in there."
And then
Infinitely less scary.
and you're like, oh,
Okay.
hey, Derek, the Watcher's looking out for us, and he's like, oh, and then like another letter slides to the door, and they're like, this is death threats.
So the letter writer had clearly been infected not only with the Watcher's penchant for anonymous notes, but a simmering resentment, one that had snaked its way through Westfield, making enemies of neighbors. The people who received the letters didn't know who sent them, but the tone had a familiar ring. When Derek was asked whether he had written them, he paused for a moment, then admitted he had. He wasn't proud of it. He hadn't even told his wife. And said that they were the only anonymous letters that he'd ever written. But he felt driven to his wits' end, fed up with watching silently as people threw accusations at his family based on practically nothing. One of the people who received a letter said that they'd never met the Broaddus family and had no interest in doing so. The Watcher had been obsessed with 657 Boulevard, and Derek in turn had become obsessed with the Watcher and everything the letters had set in motion. Quote, "It's like cancer. We think about it every day." Sitting at the Westfield train station, Derek had handed this interviewer his phone so he could read the fourth letter. If you would like to read that last.
You are despised by the house, and the Watcher won.
That is... Ugh.
And
That's it.
That right there is the tale of the Watcher. Now, I think that the Watcher was a lone individual doing all these letters, but I don't think they were doing it by themselves. Personally, that's my ongoing theory. I believe that when he said that his little minions were doing exactly what they were told, at the town hall meeting where they're like, whether or not we tear it down or not, I believe that was legit, and that the Watcher is one singular person with his little hands controlling everybody else. What do you think, Tay?
I mean, I feel like it was absolutely someone like in their neighborhood.
Yes.
Probably, honestly, I feel like it was probably a pretty small diameter. And I don't know if he did it by himself or not.
Yeah.
Or herself.
I think it was one of the kids.
Marty, what are your thoughts?
I think it was the dog's balls.
Oh.
Well, thank you so much, Dave, for that episode. That was very fun. Two-parter coming straight out of Compton. What a fucking fascinating story. I love The Watcher. That's one of my favorite tales.
It's a very cool story. It's also it's very weird that he was never found, or she was never found.
Yeah.
They were never identified.
They were never identified.
I'm gonna go back and listen to the first part of this because I just missed so much. So it's like I don't have enough ground right now to make my own accusations.
You heard it here first, folks. Marty Cowick does not listen to the podcast.
I haven't listened to the last episode.
You heard it here first,
Did not
folks.
listen to the last episode.
Nope. You heard it here first, folks. Marty doesn't like to touch the ground.
What?
I don't know what that fucking means, but okay.
I mean, it's lava, so
Obviously.
Yeah. Well, next week we got a fucking heavy one for you next week. It's gonna be a tough one, and I hope you all are ready because it's about to get real fucking dark. You thought it's about to get real intense, but it's a very fascinating set of stories.
Oh.
Marty, when is the MFA show? On the 24th of June at Misdemeanor Meadows in Portland, Oregon. We're going to be playing a show there. It's going to be a fun time. Come out, come check us out. Go get one of these shirts and and drink some beer.
Yeah, absolutely. 24th of June at Misdemeanor Meadows in Portland, Oregon. The MFA is playing. I'll be there, and Marty will be there. Taylor might not be there, but I don't know. But I'll be there. I'll be slamming drinks. And if you see me, come over there and give me a big old kiss on the lips.
No kill.
So, no kiss. Anyway.
Oh.
You can go follow us on Instagram at HGOPodcast and Hans Graves and Omens on Facebook. You can want to follow me directly on Instagram. You can at I Hunt the Haunted. I'm going to pass it off to Tay.
Hi. You can follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Lunar Thrill. It's the only social media I got, and I still don't post very often.
And 1, 2, 3 to the 4. Marty
on
Coward.
Instagram at Ghetto Feather.
Yeah. And until next week, stay spooky.
Stay haunted.
And I'm always watching. Sticks out like a dog's balls.
Dog's balls.
I'm fucking out of
Jesus Christ. All right.
All right, see you next week.
It stopped. The mouse randomly stopped right there.